Hi tankers, we're taking a look at the British Tier 8 Centurion Mk medium tank in World of Tanks today. I recently unlocked it in the game and I've been a bit surprised by it in a good way. It's not rated very highly by the World of Tanks community, but I've had some decent battles in it so far. I think it does have some good features and you can make it work, but it is a challenge. Let's go into the game.
Now, when I purchased the Centurion 1 from the tech tree, I had a lot of free XP. From the advice of a few streamers, I decided to skip the stock grind on this one. It is a really horrible stock grind. The bottom tier gun is going to be useless. You'll only be competitive with the top tier gun. Even that has low alpha damage compared to other mediums at tier 8, as you will see later in this video. In my opinion, this tank is not even worth playing without the 20 pounder gun. It will be too painful to play. I had to use a lot of free XP as well. I think if I remember, I needed the turret and the tracks before I could mount the top tier gun, so that was costly but saved me a lot of frustration in the battles. If you really like pain, then go ahead, grind this tank from stock. I don't have a great crew in this yet, but I did put Jason Statham in the Centurion as my commander. He was the recent Holiday Ops commander. I get some amusing voiceover lines from him. I don't think his lines are as good as Vinnie Jones, the Holiday Ops commander from the previous year. Vinnie motivates me when I hear his voiceover. Let's take a look at the stats, see what the Centurion Mk has going for it and what it doesn't have. So firepower, alpha damage is really lacking on this one at 230 damage per shot, and it doesn't have the DPM to make up for it. It's just below 2000. I have the gun rammer to get the DPM above 2000, make this piece of equipment a priority for the tank. The damage output is where the tank is going to really suffer. A lot of the mediums coming into the game have at least 300 alpha damage and DPM above 2000. You can immediately see the limitations of this tank, and you have to avoid getting bullied during the battle. I tend to favour a very cautious playstyle unless I'm top tier in the matchmaking. Penetration is okay for a medium at 226. You won't have to fire the gold all the time, but when matchmaking sucks or you're up against heavies, you almost certainly have to. The gun handling for me doesn't feel too bad. Without crew perks and equipment, the dispersion is at 0.33, but I've got it down to 0.3 with improved aiming and crew perks. It makes it just about okay for sniping. There are times when the matchmaking is bad and I'm facing tier 10s, and the best option is to stay to the back of the map and snipe. While not being super accurate, it wasn't too bad at this. The survivability is not the best, but the turret frontally is where the tank has something going for it. You can play this hull down. The gun depression is just about good enough at minus 10 degrees to make this playstyle work. I've been pretty happy with the mobility of this tank, which has made it nice to play. Speed is okay, power to weight ratio is not bad, traverse has been okay too. Nothing spectacular, but not bad at all. Concealment values are not bad. If I can, I will be sneaky, waiting behind bushes on certain maps. Like I said, you can revert to sniper play, almost playing it like a stealthy sniper TD, if need be, when matchmaking sucks. View range is okay. I've boosted this through various crew perks, but you may pick up spotting assistance here and there, and spot for yourself at times. Just to prove that you can have a decent battle with this tank, my record damage in a battle with the Centurion Mk is 2443. I remember playing that battle on Berlin. I went down the flank where the mediums go. I played hull down. I didn't push or play too aggressively and waited for the opposition to push and make mistakes. I honestly don't think this is a really bad tank. It's not great, but it is nice enough when you have all the modules and the top gun mounted. You could say that this tank is underrated by the community. Just avoid the stock grind. I'd rate it somewhere around 6.5 out of 10. Having said all of this, the tank can easily get bullied even by tanks of its own tier. You will see a few battles that show what the tank can do, and one that did not go too well. I was bullied in that battle and blew a lot of gold ammo that did not pen. Absolute pain. This tank is difficult enough to play with such low alpha and low DPM. The last thing you need is shots not penning. Yes, the World of Tanks experience can be painful at times. That's enough of the stats. Let's watch me playing the Centurion Mk. Okay, first battle, Redshire. In this battle, I demonstrate the perfect position to get into with the Centurion Mk, which is hull down. This was the first battle of my recording session, and it couldn't have gone any better at the start here. So I'm pushing out towards the castle. I'm a little bit concerned I might get sniped from the central area. You tend to get snipers on the top of the hill. I then see that there's the ELC even 90 on the enemy team. There's actually 2 of them, so I was a bit wary now. Do I push to the castle or not? I could get fired across the map there. I kind of pause for a little bit. See that there's a Hawk 30 there as well. So I'm just a little bit reluctant, but I get a shove from the obsidian and it spurs me on, and so I head towards the castle. And thankfully I don't get hit. There was no other teammates following the ELC even 90, so they weren't firing across. So I get to the perfect position. You can see that slope just before you get to the castle area. And that gives me a perfect all down position. So I'm slowly approaching. Just want to expose my turret. And I'm quite lucky because there's a lynx just waiting for me. And I can farm him. And I think he gives up. It looks like he's just completely stopped. He's probably just seen me, thought, uh-oh, and just stopped. And then I just get some nice free hits here. And the Hawk 30 behind takes some shots at me. And you can see my turret bounces. He couldn't pen me because I'm just exposing that turret area. This is the one area of the tank you've got some armour, the front of the turret. And I was also able to get a couple hits on that Hawk 30 as well. Unfortunately, the rest of the battle doesn't go any better than this. I don't do a lot else, but this is a great demonstration of the ideal position that you want to get into with the Centurion Mk, and it was a nice start to the session. So this is where I'm also going to demonstrate the weaknesses of the tank, because everywhere else on the tank, other than the frontal part of the turret, is very weak. There's no armour. I want to show a mistake that I make. I kind of get a bit too eager to go after that Hawk 30 and I push out, forgetting about the fact there's probably going to be quite a few snipers at the back of the map, and I get hit by one of them, the UDES 03, who has no problems penning me. And then I make another mistake here because I just leave the back end of my tank, and even the ELC even 90 has no problems penning the back end of my tank. So this is why you have to be very careful with it, because there is no armour other than the frontal part of the turret. It's no problem for the enemy to pen me. You'll just see in a moment that I just expose the back end because I'm focused on that Hawk 30. You see I'm just putting, there we go, I get hit. It's the ELC even 90 from the central part of the map who's managed to get a hit and had no problems penning me. It didn't even fire gold neither. So you can see that's what's weak about the Centurion. It's got very little armour. So I can't push out now because I know if I push out my tank will be dead. It'll be destroyed, just a couple of hits and I'm gone. There's the UDES waiting at the back there. There's the guard. There's probably a few other tanks as well. So I couldn't do much else in the game. So what was a great start, it didn't really finish that well. I do manage to get one last hit and a kill when I do decide to push forward. I was waiting for the M2Y, the M3Y and the Obsidian to push out because they've got more armour than me. But they were reluctant to do so as well, which is understandable. So I sort of have to pick my moment when to push out. So you can see the Obsidian and the M3Y are thinking about it now. The M3Y does now push out, and this is when I decide to make a move. I was trying to get a hit here on this ELC even 90, couldn't get a line of sight, and so I think, right, let's push out now. The game's nearly won. This is when you really need to move out and try and get some damage, and you might get killed. You might get taken out, but you know, it's either that or you just don't do anything. In the end, I did actually manage to get one more shot and a kill. My teammates are taking out the other tanks, and I managed to catch up and get to that SU 101, I think it is, and I get the hit in and get the kill. So another example of how you have to rush in at the end of the battle to try and farm some damage, otherwise you don't do anything. And there you go, I get the kill. Next battle, Sand River, and in this one I want to demonstrate the gun handling of the Centurion, which is not that bad, but you do have to aim your shots. You need to fully aim, wait for that reticle to get smaller. So in this one I've got good matchmaking, but I do decide to stay back. I go down the flank in the main desert area here. I'm not quite sure what's out there, and I don't have a lot of teammates with me, so I make the wise decision to stay back, and it worked out okay for me in this one. Again, not an outstanding battle, but it does demonstrate that the gun handling is quite nice. So there's a light tank up ahead. I get distracted by the IS-3, I think it is, heavy tank in the Centurion. Try to see if I can get a shot firing across here, and I couldn't quite make out the pixel. He moved back. Let's try to see if I can get a line of sight on him, but I couldn't. So in the end I have to go down the desert a bit further. Still can't get a shot in there. And he moves back even more. So no shot there. So then we have British mediums moving up this flank, the FV 4202. I didn't realise there was a platoon at this time. I thought there was just one, but there's actually two of them. And I'm fully aiming here, but he's dipped back down. Fully aimed. Nice shot. Good accuracy. I do take a hit back because I didn't realise there was another FV there. But it was a nice shot. It shows it's quite an accurate gun. No deviation. But you do have to fully aim. The aim time is quite long. But if you give yourself enough distance between you and the enemy, that shouldn't be a problem. So I realise that I have to push up. And I've got some teammates with me now. I want to try and get some more damage. The FV 4202s are in a bad situation here because we're outnumbering them. And here, first one, I wasn't firing the gold here because I was top tier. I really didn't want to spend any more on gold. I was already losing a lot of credits for the session. So first one didn't pen. That was a bad shot because I didn't take into account the tank reversing. The next one I do manage to pen. And then another one, again it didn't penetrate him. Again, I'm not penetrated. But you can see the accuracy is nice. I don't feel like this gun trolls me. I did get the dispersion down though. It's something that I think you need to focus on, try and get the dispersion down. Turn this tank into a bit of a sniper so that when you do get the bad matchmaking against tier 10s, you can stay to the back of the map, be a super camper and make this gun work. And again I get to demonstrate the accuracy here on the CDT. Fully aiming, you can see that aim time is quite long, but I do get a nice shot in, nice accuracy, no deviation, no getting upset and moody with the game. Next up is the Shrek that I can see here. There is the artillery, but I didn't get in there quick enough. I could have snap fired here, you know, but I didn't bother taking the shot, it's too late. So then I go across and get the Shrek, the Czech tank destroyer. I don't manage to get the kill shot, but I just snap fire here. I don't fully aim, but I'm at short range, so I get away with it. It helped to take him out. So I don't do much else here because the game's over quickly. It's just, you know, a bit too one-sided. But I do demonstrate again firing from distance, and this time I didn't fully aim. I kind of snap fired a little bit. I had to quickly because the game was nearly over. I managed to get a hit on the chopper, which is a new tank that's just come into the game, the first one in the line of the double barrel British heavies. I am currently grinding for that tank. I just managed to get a snapshot on him, which shows this gun's not too bad. What it really needs is a little bit more alpha on the shot, a little bit better DPM, so a bit more quicker reload, and also slightly better aim time would be nice as well. But I got that last shot in there on the chopper as well, so it's quite a nice gun. It doesn't feel too bad. Okay, last battle that I'm going to show you is on Lakesville, and this didn't go so well, and oh boy did it not go well. I want to show you the mistakes that I can make in this tank and something that you'll need to think about. You really do need to study the matchmaking. Even when you're same tier, there are tanks at tier 8 that will bully the Centurion. I missed that shot there, but I do manage to get my one and only hit against this French light tank, again demonstrating that the gun handling is not too bad on this Centurion Mark 1. Now I'm really eager to get into the village, but what I don't realise is there's a Russian 703 double barrel trash tank, as I like to call it, and there's a Chinese heavy that are approaching into that village, and I get a bit too eager to go in there, and I really should have stayed at the back of the map here. I missed my opportunity here on this Barask because I was so eager to want to go into the village. What I did is I saw this matchmaking tier 8, I thought, oh right, I can be a bit more confident here, I can be a bit more aggressive. But really I shouldn't have been. In hindsight, I should have stayed at the back where I was, right here. The T28, the Assault TD on my team, and there's a 703 on my team as well. They're the tanks that should have pushed into the village, not me. I should have stayed at the back. I got too aggressive, too cocky. I didn't study the matchmaking well enough, and that's something that you need to do in this Centurion Mark 1. Even when it's same tier, there are tanks that will bully this. So I go into the village. I'm thinking that there's like only a Lynx, possibly a Barask there. So I'm thinking, okay, let's go in. Might be able to farm some damage. But I don't meet those two tanks. I meet something else. Something a little more heavily armoured. Two tanks, in fact. And a Polish medium. I think that's a premium tank as well. So I get flustered immediately because there's three tanks here that I don't want to face, especially that 703. I don't know much about the WZ, but it's a heavily armoured tank, I know that. And I do not get much joy at this point. Now, really I should have retreated, straight away retreated, gone to the back of the map, and I didn't. I was trying to get a hit in here and nothing was penning. I think I was still firing these standard ammo. Not bad pen on the standard, but then I switched to the gold. And this is another reason why brawling in this tank really isn't an option when you're coming up against heavily armoured tanks. The gold penetration is not that much more than the standard. I think it's 258. Standard is 226. That's pretty good for a tier 8 medium. But 258 on the gold, you're not going to pen that much when it comes to firing against heavy tanks. It's just not going to pen. And then you're going to end up spamming lots of gold and losing loads of credits, which is exactly what happened to me in this battle. I take a shot here, even against the Polish tank as well. I couldn't pen that. So that was against the WZ. I take a shot against this Polish tank, medium tank I think it is. Go for the turret, still no pen. I'm firing gold at this point as well. Wow, it was horrible. I was getting extremely stroppy with the game at this point. But it was my mistakes. I shouldn't have been in this position. I kind of retreated, but only semi-retreated here. I should have retreated all the way back to the back of the map. But I stayed here, and then it got to the point where it was too late to retreat, because if I did, I probably would have been taken out anyway. And really, I kind of gave up. Around this point, I think it was, I kind of just gave up and started getting hit from different angles. The Lynx was approaching. There were other tanks that I couldn't see. And here is the 703. And I take a shot, bounces because I can't pan. And then he slaps me on for 836. And that's where you can see where this tank is going to get bullied, because there are tanks that can do that to you. He fired both the double barrels together. 836. The alpha on this gun, just a measly 230. You can see how this can get easily bullied. I go for the WZ and just get taken out. Absolutely hopeless. And that's all my own fault, really. I can moan at the game and say, oh, you know, the gold, it's not penning and all that. But really, I made a massive mistake. I should have stayed at the back of the map, where I wasn't in that first position, and stayed there. I really needed the assault TD, the T28, and the 703 on my team to advance and go into the village, but they stayed at the back, so we all had the wrong roles, and well, it only ends in a landslide defeat. My session wasn't the best. 4 out of 8 battles were victories, so that was decent for me, but only 765 average damage per battle and around 118 average assistance damage, and I lost 85,000 credits in total. I'm aiming to do over 1,000 damage per battle to try and get that first mark of excellence. Yeah, you have to work hard to get a good performance out of the Centurion 1, but in a strange way, it doesn't feel that bad to play. Okay, that's it for today's video. See you next time.